everybody, welcome to the garage. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. The Court of Public Opinion is in session. Thank you for joining us. Pete's here, Gary's here. How's the cold?
It's excellent, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for your good wishes too.
I didn't want it to be an excellent cold, you understand? I just shug it off.
Completely. I'm just sorry I lost my radio voice.
He enjoyed that. Lots of comments about the Shiite demonstration we showed you last week. Not just in Adelaide, of course, but in all the Australian capital cities. But quite a bit of coordination to do that. It was about the martyrdom of Hussein, who was, Pete, what was he? He was Muhammad's cousin or something.
I thought it was his grandson or something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but it was a relative of Muhammad.
Well, I'm not familiar with Islamic history, but I've never seen anything like that before. The real issue is why it wasn't covered. News directors are not responsible for what is a good look, or what is a bad look, or a provocative look. It's just a look. Go and record it, preserve it, show it, broadcast it. Let me say, there's nothing wrong with immigration. You can use immigration to help you build your country, or you can use immigration to destroy your culture. Just saying. Last of the ISIS brides, Hoden Abbey, is on her way back to Australia. She was subject to a temporary exclusion order, and now we know why. It's been alleged that she was an extremist in a Syrian refugee camp, where the other Syrian or brides of Islam were. She had threatened and attacked other women. She was an enforcer of Sharia law. She terrorized people. Came up to one young woman, put a knife, allegedly, in a niqab and left it at the door, whatever the implications of that might be. Now, these are allegations of not just one person, but three. This is quite public. And the government has seen fit to lift this woman's exclusion order and provide her with an entry permit into this country. Unbelievable, and in my book, unacceptable. Sorry. Now, I thought about whether or not I should do this. The death of Derryn Hinch at 82. Marvellous man, I thought. Died at home in his bed, which is the best we can all hope for, frankly. Indulge me if you would. Derryn Hinch was a friend, as much of a friend as you can have in this business, because we're all rivals. We're all in competition with each other. I met him in Sydney when he was the editor of the Sun newspaper, youngest ever editor of a major newspaper in the country. Came over from New Zealand. Mary Fairfax, Lady Fairfax, the wife of Sir Warwick Fairfax, she had taken a shine to him. They owned the paper. They owned my radio station too. She took a shine to him as a young, fresh-faced reporter, and before he knew where he was on an upward trajectory. I wonder if any of that ever made it into any of his books. I don't know. This was a very old conservative family, a very old conservative newspaper, The Sun. And as the new editor, the first thing he did was to change the famous Sun logo. The font, the layout, the whole look of the paper. Shock horror. Oh, Lord. I was doing the morning show on 2GB, which was also owned by the Fairfaxes. And Derryn and I used to have a drink from time to time at a little French restaurant called Le Bicyclette. He desperately wanted to get into radio. He was always ambitious, but there he saw his destiny. Radio. This was his next big thing. He developed an interesting persona, always controversial, different. For example, he decided that it didn't matter where he was going or what he was doing, he would never wear a tie. Ties were out. It was all about being different, being a rebel. We lost contact with each other for a while there. He went to Melbourne and indeed turned up on a music radio station. I think it was 3XY, was that a music station? 3XY, maybe it was 3UZ. But anyway, he was doing more talk than playing music and soon found himself moving to 3AW, which is the major talk station in Melbourne, and still is. He had energy, charisma, ambition, moved quickly from radio to television. When the Fairfax empire collapsed, Christopher Skase bought the Seven Network about the same time as we bought 5DN out of the same stable. Derryn was hired to do a current affairs program up against Willacy. Hinch, just H-I-N-C-H, Hinch. Then there were the books. There was the Hungry Hinch. Well, he did lunch a lot. He concocted a diet, a program where you lost weight. What did he know about diets? Didn't matter. What did he know about radio? Didn't matter. But apparently, if you had soup, 3 meals a day, just soup, nothing but soup. Soup, 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 soup. He was a character. Charismatic, enigmatic, eccentric. I don't know what he made of me over the years, but I liked him. His life was always up and down. 5 marriages and more sackings. He used to say he'd been through more stations than the Southern Aurora. To me, his great achievement was his campaign, successful campaign, against the media, electronic media blackout that occurred before every election. He was sent to jail twice, home detention, I think, once. It was all over contempt of court. He used to name paedophiles whose cases were still before the court. With only weeks to live, he had a liver transplant, which was successful, gave him another 15 years of life. He became a strong campaigner for organ donations, never stopped drinking, by the way, never stopped drinking. He remained ambitious to the end. I remember he hired a beautiful young uniformed lady chauffeur to drive him around in a Rolls Royce.
Perfectly reasonable.
Perfectly reasonable. I remember seeing him here in Adelaide while he was still working in Melbourne, when he was courting Jackie Weaver, whom he married twice, I think. He would come to every performance of They're Playing Our Song. Now, They're Playing Our Song is the musical that we use as a musical intro to this court of public opinion in the garage. That's the overture from They're Playing Our Song. We also use it on Friday mornings. He surrounded Jackie with roses every night. God, he had style. He had an eye for the theatrical and the beautiful. By this time, I'd moved somewhat away from being totally reliant upon being on air and had bought those 3 stations, 5AD and 5DN and 5SC. I was doing the morning show on 5DN because I was the only person I knew who would work for nothing. Derryn was out of work at the time. That happened from time to time. And I suggested to him that it could be a really good idea if he came over to Adelaide to do our breakfast program. Quite selfishly, I wanted a good lead-in for my show, and he'd be wonderful. The only problem was that he couldn't get out of bed, couldn't get there on time. He had a bit of a nightlife, you see, as you can understand. No wonder he had a liver transplant. In the end, we had to rent the apartment next door to the radio station on 10th Street in the hope that all he needed to do was to come down the stairs. Pretty simple. But even then he couldn't get there on time. But it didn't matter. He was a great broadcaster. The human headline. He knew how to report the news, how to make the news, and how better still the headlines. He was basically a very good journalist who had a burning ambition to be a star, which of course ultimately led him into politics with his Justice Party. I think he called it Derryn Hinch's Justice Party. He was a senator. Hard to imagine that he didn't really achieve everything that he wanted to in life. I'm sure he did. I can't remember how many times he was married. 5, I think. He was a marvellous raconteur, character. What I love about this business is that it's endless characters. Endless characters. He was one of the best. I will miss you, Derryn. I hope you found peace. What was his line? I think somebody told me, although there were conflicting stories as to what was going on his tombstone. I heard that it was going to be That's Life, which was the Frank Sinatra song that he always signed off his program with. Vale, Derryn Hinch. Vale. People all over Australia, just weeks after this budget, are being priced out of a home. Rents have climbed exponentially. The government will blame whom? Well, the previous government, of course. No, it's your budget. You made your bed, lie in it, as the Prime Minister has said on occasion. The Hutt Street home for those without one has seen a 43% increase in demand. Now, this can't be a coincidence. Just look at the economic stats. If you saw that OECD chart of those countries in the world, their productivity, 38 OECD countries. We are second from the bottom. At the top is India. At the bottom is Thailand. Real wages going down, and now the only asset most of us have, our home, that too is going down in value. What a government we have. What are we going to do for the next 18 months? I don't know. Trains and boats and planes and banks and pubs and shops and transactions all over the country. We have again been shown how vulnerable we are, how vulnerable we are when we depend on technology. Now, I love technology because we couldn't do any of this in the garage or around the dining room table without it, but gee, it's pretty basic technology. I'm talking about the technology that allows us to swipe our credit card. It's a phone line, EFTPOS. But somehow it works transport and trains and bridges and things. Most importantly, it should work the emergency 000 number. People depend on that in an emergency. Got to be there. Telstra to blame this time. Optus last. Now, the truth is we only need one small thing to go wrong and the whole country is paralysed. We are told that a $20,000 component is what caused all this. The weak link. When are we going to realise that this is not the best way to go? They don't want us to have checkbooks. Anything online. Everything online. They don't want cash. You can't go into a branch, or they don't want you to go into a branch. They want us to be totally reliant upon things digital, which I think is flawed. Just brought into sharp focus when something does go wrong. We're vulnerable. Call me Friday. What's the answer? I don't know. Guys, a desert island.
I'm in.
Yeah, a few acres in the bush.
Few acres in the bush. Yeah, oil lamps, open fires.
Yeah.
Horses.
Yeah.
Runnies.
Horses.
Yeah. I agree. Look, I agree. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday. It's the it's Bastille Day. Whoa! Happy Bastille Day. Happy Bastille Day.
Croissants all round.
Yes, yes. Vive la France! 1789. Bastille Day. The French Revolution begins with the storming of the Bastille prison in Paris. Da-da-da-da-da. Best anthem in the world, isn't it? I like the American anthem. I like our anthem.
Yes.
France's National Day, July 14. 1850, the first public demonstration of ice made by refrigeration by Florida physician John Gorey. 1850, the year. All non-Nazi parties are banned in Germany. 1933. Nothing like killing the competition. 1910, William Hanna, American animator, Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Huckleberry Finn, Scooby-Doo, the Smurfs, founder of the studio Hanna-Barbera. He was born in Melrose, New Mexico. He died in 2001. Great man. But he was born this day in 1910. The United States, 500, 1,000, 5,000, and $10,000 bills are officially withdrawn from circulation. The year was 1969. American John T. Smith patents the corkboard. That's a good thing. You put pictures of the kids up on a corkboard, or the cats.
The cats.
Yeah. Bruce Oldfield, British fashion designer to Princess Diana and Queen Camilla, born in North Yorkshire on this day in 1950. American engineer Robert Goddard is granted the first patent for liquid-fueled rocket design. That was 1914. Beginning of the First World War. Takes these things a hell of a long time to get into production. It's weird. Terry Thomas, his real name was Thomas Terry Hoare Stevens. Very aristocratic. English comedian and actor. I'm All Right, Jack. Private's Progress. Those daring young men in their jaunty jalopies. It's a mad, 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 mad world. Born in London, he died in 1990, but born this day in 1911. Dr. Benjamin Spock. I talked to him. I had the privilege of talking to him a few times. His book was called Common Sense Book of Baby and Child Care. That was first published in 1946. We were still talking about it in 1976. Phil Everly storms off stage at Knott's Berry Farm in California and declares an end to the Everly Brothers. The show was planned as their last. His exit was improvised, so a performance is a performance, I suppose. I loved the Everly Brothers. Wake Up a Little Susie. Stood Up was another one I liked.
Brilliant. They were brilliant.
God, I know what being stood up is like. We've all been there, haven't we? God, I'm glad I'm not young again. I'm glad. Anyway, that was 1973. Australian Ronald Clark runs world record. 10 kilometres, 27.39.4 seconds, 1965. WYHY Radio offers $1 million to anyone who can prove that Elvis Presley is still alive. 1988 was the year. And one more, Gerald Ford, 38th President of the United States, 74 to 77, and the 41st U.S. Vice President, Republican, 73 to 74, born Omaha, Nebraska. He died in 2006. He took control after Nixon stepped down. That was a moment in American history, wasn't it? But he was born on this day, 1913. Look, I think I will leave it there. Oh, Pete, Billy the Kid.
Yes.
Billy the Kid, American frontier outlaw and gunfighter in the Old West, shot by Sheriff Pat Garrett, dies of gunshot wounds at 21. This was the day, 1881 was the year. Woo! Thank you very much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen, in the Court of Public Opinion, in our garage. Look forward to our posting on Facebook on Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, but Andy Martin with Ozcast puts it out on all kinds of different platforms, which I think is how we sort of multiply the audience. It's fascinating. It's like pyramid selling. I don't know how it works, but I'm very grateful that it does. I'll see you on Thursday morning and perhaps around the dining room table on Friday when we're live streaming our show. The Court of Public Opinion, thank you for viewing us today. Bye for now.